Okay.
Alright, today the husband is making kimchie, and that is a Korean dish. There are a lot of different recipes, kind of like there are so many different chicken soup recipes, and kimchi is so popular in Korea and of course this country, and there are so many different recipes. You can find dozens of them on the internet in different cookbooks, but they all start out basically the same, and that is with a beautiful head of cabbage like this. This happens to be Napa cabbage. If you're looking for Chinese cabbage, if you're looking for it in your grocery store, usually averages about $2 per pound. This head is about 2.5, maybe 3 pounds. It looks like it's going to make a lot. This is going to shrink up quite a bit. So the first thing that gets done is the cabbage is going to get cut up into bite-sized pieces. You can see the core is quite thick.
Well, you get it like that, and then you just, well, okay, this one's coming off over here, so that's okay, that's still good. And once you get it, and just peel it apart like that. Then you can get one.
Yeah, look at the inside of that.
One section. This is actually the tenderest part usually, and it's more flavorful. And then we're going to go in here, and we're going to get that part and that core.
It has a core like lettuce does, like head lettuce does, or iceberg lettuce. And you take that core out?
Well,
or do you use it?
Once you get that now, you're going to sit over
so you
here
do take
and
it
put
out.
the bulk
Okay.
part.
Okay.
Okay. And then you want to kind of cut it up into like bite-sized pieces. I could cut it again longer if I wanted to. You can sit down there and just kind of slice it like that, and then you go over here and you're just going to cut this down. This is, I only got a small cutting board.
Yeah, as you can see, we're using our big popcorn bowl here. You want to get this into a very large bowl because you're going to need to mix this up later.
Yeah, unless you have a very clean sink.
I don't like doing things in the sink
Well, you
like
can
that.
use the stainless steel sink.
Well, some people have sinks that are reserved just for cleaning food, but we don't. If you could smell this, once this cabbage starts to get cut up, it has a really mild but sweet vinegary smell. It's such a pleasant smell.
You're breaking that up again.
Taking out the core of the cabbage.
I'm dividing it
What
again.
is the name of the other cabbage you could use?
Well, you can basically use any kind of
That's
vegetable, but
special
the other one is called a Savoy.
Savoy cabbage. Now, we've looked for that in our grocery store. They do carry it. They were just out of it the last couple of times we were there.
It's difficult sometimes to find the Napa cabbage, depending upon where you live. We got a high Asian population around, you'll probably get more of it. But it's actually it's a pretty popular cabbage for a lot of people. It's actually very tasty. It's very tasty cabbage. You probably can't. As I'm talking, probably can't hear me over there because the microphone's on the back of that. But it's a very tasty cabbage. I don't mind it. And this is just the beginning process. I'm going to get it over here. What I'm going to end up doing is getting it in some water and end up rinsing it, making sure I wash it out. Although, I mean, this looks pretty clean, but there's nothing wrong with
giving it a good rinse just to be sure there's no dirt in there.
Yeah. So,
okay.
And this, I'm going to be using this bowl pretty much the whole way through for everything. And if you wanted to do, this is not the way that a lot of other people do it, but you know, I like to do it this way. So just my
okay, so I got out our sea salt, And we have a third of a cup of the sea salt. Now what's going on over here is this cabbage is going to get rinsed with cool water.
I'm just going to fill the bowl up with water. Like I said, it's done a lot of different ways.
And I'll show you the end product. This is what we're going for.
Well, that's what's left of my
This is,
one batch I made
yes,
before.
this is half a jar. What's left, as you can see, that's what it's going to look like when it's all done. So that's where we're going with this.
We had the one big head before, and we got a mason jar,
right?
well, a mason jar and almost close to a half of a mason jar, and I really pack it in there. But it's just amazing that this stuff just shrinks up.
It's going to wilt down quite a bit. But look at
now,
that beautiful
I'm just trying to make sure I
head.
get it rinsed off and kind of get it a little bit of wet. You'll find spots or something like that someplace. And the idea is to make sure that there are no bugs around on it, no dirt or whatnot in it, and it actually seems to be in pretty good shape. Now what I do in order to keep that, then once I get this, is I'll put that over to help drain the water out.
Did you change the water?
I'm going to drain it.
Okay.
After I drain it, then I'm going to move the salt on it. Now the salt really isn't to give it flavor. The cabbage actually tastes pretty good.
That's to get the water out of the cabbage.
It helps
leaves,
get the
it?
cabbage out of it, and the water out of the cabbage, and it also softens it up a little bit.
Okay.
So we're just trying to get the bulk of the water.
I mean, right there.
Our nice
okay.
clean sink.
Is no longer a nice clean sink. Okay.
It's okay if it stays a little wet. And I hope the salt stay onto it. So I'm going to just come back over here.
We're going back over here.
It's easier for me. So,
sorry.
Alright. What I'm going to do is just
this is the salt. That's 1/3 of a cup of
some, huh?
Oh, well, it's all over the table now.
Oh, is it?
Well, yeah.
Alright, so we're just going to try to blend it in with my hands.
You could see we could probably use an even larger bowl. This just happens to be the biggest bowl that we have here.
Or if you want, you can do it in parts.
That's true too. Yeah. Yeah, we could have split it up between two large bowls.
But I've seen other people do it, and they do have a big sink. Use big gigantic stuff. Oddly enough, you don't want to do this in anything metal, because one of
glass would be okay.
Glass is fine. Glass is fine.
And of course we have plastic
here. Plastic is okay too, but you don't necessarily want. Well, this part is probably okay, but the next part, or the latter part, is the Korean pepper flakes. Apparently it's not a good idea to try to do the later process. You're actually trying to get it to kind of ferment later, and apparently it doesn't work really well in a metal container. Glass is fine though.
Check out our snowstorm. It's March 21st, and I think this is Snowstorm Toby.
Snowstorm number 4.
Yeah, we were supposed to get 1 to 3 inches, then it was 3 to 5, then it was 4 to 8. Somebody said 1.5 feet, but now I think it's back down to 1 to 3. But it is supposed to keep snowing all the way through tomorrow morning, so we'll see.
Usually
luckily,
when she says somebody, she means me, but I didn't say that.
Luckily, you can see nothing is really sticking to the road yet.
It will.
It may overnight. If the temperature drops a little bit, this could freeze up. So, but just hoping that, you know, everybody has a safe drive to and from work today.
For those that have to go.
So this is just putting the salt on and then mixing and mixing to make sure that the salt is hitting all the different leaves.
Yeah, I want to try to...
And then you're going to fill this with water again, right?
No.
No, you're just going to leave... Okay.
That used to be how I did it, but this is a new method that I come up with.
Okay.
And it seems to work pretty good. It's what I'm going to call my quick kimchi method.
Okay.
Yeah. Although it's not so quick. It's relatively easy. You just have to, it just takes time. But as you can see, it's already kind of wilting a little bit now.
It is. It is that these leaves were all the way up to the top of the bowl, and now you can see they're not quite to the top. They're about a third of the way down. And the salt really pulls the moisture right out of these leaves. But that's what you're going for with the kimchi.
Yeah, and I press them down a little bit too, so that makes a difference. And just to give them an idea, you know, like you said, you have the mason jar, and
all this will probably fit in
most
maybe
likely
like
be able to get it squished
maybe
into
1.5 mason
a little
jars.
bit of hot pepper on there. Okay, but you know.
Alright, and you put a plate on top of that now?
I will. I'm just going to give it one last mix
okay.
now. This is going to sit like that for at least 2 hours.
Okay, so we'll be back in 2 hours, and then you'll be able to see.
The only ingredients we're using. The only ingredients we're using are the Napa Cabbage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The salt, of course.
Salt.
Then the hot pepper stuff.
Well, I'm gonna show them what I do with the stuff later, but we got
also garlic and
green
ginger.
onions or scallions.
Green onions. Okay, forgot about
green
them.
Green onions or scallions.
And then the garlic and ginger. And then the hot pepper stuff.
Well,
but you will see all that go together in about 2 hours.
You get the pepper flakes. And here you, this is it's called,
okay, these
they
are the
call it Gogo Churro, so.
Okay. And this, Walmart? Did you get this from Walmart?
I ordered it
from Walmart.
Online
from Walmart. These are not always in the store. If it was, it'd probably be by the spices, or no, probably in the Oriental section.
On your bigger
of the store,
Walmart, you'll probably find some.
But we were able to order it online from Walmart. And a little tip: if you order $35 or more online from Walmart, you do not have to pay shipping.
Yeah, but that's for Walmart products. Like this one.
That's right. You said this had
sold by Walmart,
but
they
doesn't
don't
come from Walmart.
Stock it,
okay.
but they sell it.
Okay. All right. So we will be back in 2 hours, and you will see how this dish is finished up. All right. So the kimchi has been set. Let me put the light on here. The kimchi has been setting for 2 hours, 3 hours. And you can, well, I hope you can see the water that's coming out. This is just the moisture that's been coming out of the cabbage itself.
I poured some out earlier.
Yeah, this is the second time that the water is being drained off. Okay, now you remember that huge bowl of cabbage, and now look how it's really condensed and sort of wilted down.
A lot of water in there yet.
Yeah, this is
so you
really
want it to
moist.
Stay wet. And then what I'm going to do is just kind of rinse it and drain it again.
And that will be to get the salt off?
Basically, yeah. I mean,
some of the salt will still be on there. You're not going to be able to get every bit off, but a good rinse. I can't see
I
there.
just fill it.
There we go.
But it's shrunk down quite a bit. And then we just use this this again.
Now the plate is put on top to make sure that all the leaves are held down.
Escape.
Yeah, nothing gets out.
I mean, you could put it into a strainer.
Yeah, we just don't have a colander that big, so.
Alright, so now I'm going to just go ahead and put that over here, and then I'm going to start to get the rest of the stuff in just seconds.
Alright, the husband is cutting up scallions. He's also going to prepare the garlic and the ginger. And then there's going to be some of this pepper put in. And I don't know if you can see this. I want you to see the texture of this. It's coarser than powdered red pepper, but not as coarse as pepper flakes. You got that just in the middle. Yeah, that's a scallions or green onions.
I'm going to get rid of the tops, and then I'm going to dice it up. Okay.
So I just want you to see the texture of that. And about 1/3 of a cup is going to go in there. In the meantime, take a look at our winter weather outside. When I filmed this before at 3 o'clock, the road was fine, and now it is covered. And they're still expecting anywhere between 4 and 8 inches. Looks like we have 2 or 3 inches on the ground now because, as you can see, the grass is covered. The bushes, it looks beautiful. It's a very beautiful snowfall, but it is a very heavy snow. It's almost like a slush. So if you're out there, be careful driving. I just wanted to show you, this is the ginger that has been peeled and cut up. And as you can see, I guess if this was...
I'm going to put it through the food processor.
Okay, the husband just said he's going to put it through the food processor, but I'm trying to think if this was cut really small, it might be a tablespoon and a half, maybe? 2 tablespoons?
Yeah, probably.
But as you can see, the sizes, these are about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch large, and there's 6
I take about an inch on the ginger root.
Yeah, ginger root is hard to judge because it comes thick and it comes thin. It's usually sold by the pound, and it's very light. Ginger has a lovely, lovely smell to it, but it will stick on your hands. Well, the smell will stay on your hands. If you don't like that smell on your hands, you know, they sell a very fancy and very expensive piece of stainless steel, and something about the ions in the stainless steel or something I don't really understand. If you rub your hands on it, the ginger smell comes off. Same with garlic.
Right.
But if you don't have that, almost everybody has a stainless steel sink. So if you have the ginger smell on your hands, just rub your hands on the stainless steel, and it actually works. I've tried that. And here we have the scallions or green onions cut up. This was one bunch, and there were 5 or 6 in there. There are about 5 or 6 of these, and you see they're cut into 2-inch pieces maybe. And here we have 3 garlic cloves that are also going to go into the mini food processor with the ginger.
Yep.
Now, when you put this on, are you going to make it just chopped or like a paste?
I put it on high. Yeah, well, it chops it up.
Just chopped. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. This has to come over here because the plug is not long enough. So, move the jar out of the way and the coffee maker out of the way.
Everything out of the way.
And this will be noisy, but you'll be able to see.
Not that bad.
Okay, so that's a very, get this off here so you can see it, that's a very, most of it is on the sides, coarse chop.
That's just the way I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you really want to, you can buy the stuff in the minced cans. they'll work okay.
Yeah, and that's a good reference. This does look, the garlic is about the size that you would get if you bought the minced garlic in oil.
So now what I'm going to do is going to kind of scrape this stuff off in with the onions. There.
Alright, I'm just going to put this
Just
blade
careful,
in the sink. Okay, we're back here.
And this goes, all this, going to mix this all in here. Yeah.
I wish you could somehow smell how good this is, between that sweet vinegar smell of the cabbage and the smell of the green onions and now the garlic and ginger. It's delicious smelling in here. And after you do this recipe the first time, you can add more or less of the garlic and ginger and the pepper, depending on your taste. And I didn't take it out yet. We're going to put about 1/3 of a cup. Here's your
just to start. I kind of like it a little spicy, so.
Yes, he does. And to me, it even smells too hot. This stuff is amazing. So that's 1/3 of a cup of the pepper.
I'll probably add more to it. But
you can always add more. You can't take it away. So if you're not sure how hot you like it, start out with just 1/3 of a cup, and then you can always add more if you want it.
And again, the traditional recipes are a bit different than this.
Yeah.
This is just
and how much you put in also depends on the size of the head of cabbage.
One of those, you want to pause it and give me one of those food gloves in there.
Okay. Okay, we're back, and I got a food glove for the husband because this stuff, you do not want it on your hands.
Yeah, mainly you don't want to get it in your eye.
Well, yeah, but you don't want it on your hands either. It can
So I'm just going to
burn
take
you.
it in here like this, and then I'm going to just start to mix it a little bit. And you see I pressed it all down before. And just get all that in there.
Yeah, hold the bowl here.
That's why I got the glove. You're going to do it. I'll massage it in there. And just always take some of the lettuce to pick up any of that powder.
Okay. Okay, got the bowl. And the main thing is to get every leaf covered with some of that mix,
well,
right?
I'm going to massage it, yeah. I mean, I could add more.
Yeah, and if you had 2 gloves on, you could just use both hands, get right in there and mix it up.
You don't need to.
There you go.
Like that. And, I mean, you can actually eat it like this right now. I mean, this is okay. It's got the flavor. To me, the gorgonzola isn't really super hot, but for most people, it's pretty hot.
It looks beautiful. I don't care for anything that's spicy hot, so I don't eat kimchi, but it looks beautiful. It's a really nice
this is my variation.
product,
The
yeah.
traditional stuff will have daikon, radish, or they call it Korean radish.
And we're going to come over here because we're going to put it into a canning jar. You can put it into any type of jar.
Glass, not metal.
Glass, not metal. And I have to say, if you use
Ceramic
plastic,
is okay.
If you use plastic, the plastic is always going to smell like kimchi. That smell just doesn't seem to ever want to come out. It's not a bad smell. I'm just saying you may not, whatever you use, if it's plastic, you may not want to use it for anything else.
Want to taste it?
No, I don't want to taste it.
Yeah, show.
I do not want to taste it. But
there
it is.
That's a thick end there.
That's what it looks like.
Needs more gorgonzola.
So now it's just going to go into the jar.
And it's going to kind of squeeze it. I'm probably
Yeah,
going to need...
we really need one of those canning funnels for this. That would
No,
help.
that's okay.
We just don't. We
If
don't
you can
have
get
one.
it in there, you know.
And then we'll clean the edge of that. And how long does this have to sit before you?
Well, you can eat it right now, like I said, but typically once I get it closed, you want to leave it at least a day. After 2-3 days.
And you put it in the refrigerator or leave it out on the counter?
No, you leave it out. You leave it out.
Leave it on the counter.
Room temperature.
Okay.
Oh, we forgot the sugar. That's what we forgot.
Okay.
Oh, so
All
I'll
right,
have to
hang
get
on
that
a
out.
sec. We're backtracking a little bit because forgot the sugar. So this is about a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a half of sugar.
Yeah, just gonna sprinkle it around, massage it in. And that's will help it to naturally ferment. Alright, so you really don't want to make it too sweet.
Okay, so now it's going to go into the jar.
Yeah, we'll mix it up.
Yeah.
Make sure it's good and mixed.
And as you can see, this large head of Napa cabbage really shrunk down.
Yeah, it all depends on how you cut it.
You might need
and how big the exterior leaves are.
I mean, I know you pack it in, but we might need a second jar.
We might. Or I could eat a lot of it. One or the other. Alright, so now we'll go again back in there. And
usually when this is going to be for supper, I make rice to go with it.
But it's actually very good about anything.
By
It's
itself,
almost
you had it with
can be like a snack.
You had it with noodles the other day, right? With the ramen.
Yeah, I mixed it into ramen soup. Just put a couple pieces in, and
I bet that gave it a kick.
Yeah. Well, you know, kimchi flavored soup.
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, you can actually buy kimchi soup, so
well, they're flavored.
Sort of make it your own way.
They say kimchi flavored.
Yeah.
Yeah, get those. So the main thing is you want to get it in here and really get all the air out that you can, so you really, really pack it.
If you ever buy the kimchi already made in the supermarket, now, in our supermarket you would find it, actually it's in the produce section next to where the Napa cabbage is. But if you look at the jar, you might even see little bubbles on the side, and that's from the fermenting. Yeah.
So this is actually pretty good right here, so I am going to need another jar.
Okay. From past experience, I just want to tell you, if you do buy kimchi, open the jar over the sink, because as soon as you open it, that liquid can bubble up and out of the jar.
Okay, well there's the jars of kimchi that from what I had made. It's been sitting in here for about a day, and you can see this is a nice red color from using the pepper flakes, the Korean pepper flakes, the gogochuro. And this was actually a can left over from when I bought some at a store. You can get it pre-made sometimes, but I kind of enjoy making it. When we were doing the other video part before, we kind of messed up doing the ending part where I had stuffed it all in there, and this has been sitting there about a day now, but it'll be good. I'll enjoy it. Take care, everyone.